Hey, this is Life for Shauna Renee here, back with another video. This video is about Crazy Roommate Had It Out For Me, part 4. I'll try to look for part 3. She didn't have a part 3, so maybe this is part 3 and 4. This is what I could do. But anyways, also, so I know that you've watched the whole video through. I will start doing a secret code at the end of every video. And if you scroll to the end, that'd be so sad. So watch the whole video. Alright, let's watch the video.
Okay, part 4 of my crazy roommate who almost got me killed and tried to leave me homeless. Okay, I'm busting out these parts today. The story will be finished, if not in this part, in the next part. But basically, we left off at where, we were having that issue with the key situation. And then once that blows over, she starts having issues with the rent again. Okay, throughout this whole situation, remember in the first part, I said that basically all you had to do to pay rent was go into the portal and you could pay your half separately. Like, you don't have to do it together. My portal kept on breaking down, okay? This was a separate issue that I was having with the leasing office and with, like, their IT department. I don't freaking know, because my portal kept on, like, going berserk, literally. One time I logged in and it said that I owed, like, $7,000. My rent was not $7,000, nowhere near. Or it would just, like, my password wasn't working, something. So I was having to send her the money that I owe, my portion, to her mom. Now, I'm not stupid, okay? I would label it rent. So, like, she wasn't using it for anything else. And if she did, we would have a problem, which we did end up having a problem. But that's just a preface for this part of the story. Now, during the month of November, our rent was was higher than it was, not much higher, but it was higher than it usually was. It wasn't a late fee. Like, till this day, I'm not sure what it was, but I went ahead and, like, paid it and sent the money to her mom. Now, this is the holidays. Like, there's people are moving back home. I was not moving back home, but I was going back home. There was a lot of moving parts, so we end up forgetting to pay our utility bill. So I text her, I say, hey, we forgot to pay the last utility bill. It's 2 days late. It's $122 now. That's $61 each. I can pay it in full and then you can Zelle me, or vice versa. Which are you comfortable with? So she ends up telling me that's okay. So I pay the utility for that month in full, but this is with under the impression that she's going to send me the other half. So I never ended up seeing that money, by the way. But anyway, that was like the little tiff in November. Now, in December, we end up like paying everything smoothly, like nothing. Actually, our rent was actually lower, so I think it like evened out. So we ended up paying everything like on time, great, no issues there. January is when ish hits the freaking fan, okay? Okay, so again, remember, my portal is broken. It's always going berserk, so I'm having to send her mom the money. On January 1st, I send her mom the money, my part of the rent. Again, it's always labeled rent in the Zelle, so like there's no issues there. And then I go on about my merry way. At this time, I'm home. Okay, neither of us are in the apartment. I'm home for the holidays, and I sent the money for the rent. I'm living la viva loca, baby. Like, I'm good. Well, someone tell me, audience, tell me why the frick when I come back home on January 11th, I'm home from the holidays. I'm, getting settled back in. I walk up to my door and I see a notice saying that we have not paid rent for the month of January. So when I see this, my heart literally drops, but I text her right away. I say, hey, we got a notice. We got a notice on our door saying we haven't paid rent. Question mark. Like, because that was my honest, like, reaction, like, question mark, what the frick? And she says, yes, I have to get a money order and give it to the office. We can't pay it through the app anymore. Now, basically, the way that this apartment worked is like after you haven't paid your rent after a certain like time frame, they lock down the portal and then you can only pay it through a money order. I don't know if this is normal or not. This is just the way that they did it, right? So she tells me like, oh, it's because, I need to go get a money order. But I'm good. In my head, I'm like, why wasn't it paid in the first place on the first when I sent you the money? So this is when this girl really starts becoming evil, okay? Because remember, I told y'all, I've always had an issue with my portal. It was something wrong with, like, I don't know if it was my numbers or something like that. She ends up telling me that she needs to get a money order because there was something wrong with her portal, and she couldn't go in and pay it, and we're gonna have to like go down to the leasing office and talk to them, which I was like all for it because I was pissed too. So now we low-key like start having beef with the leasing office, right? Because this girl is telling me her portal is down. I believe her because also like my portal has been down multiple times, okay? Like, so I'm like, okay, we need to go down and talk to these people and tell them like this is an ongoing issue. It's causing us, to not have a way to pay rent, blah, 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 this, that. So I email the like, I don't know what her title is, basically like the general manager of like the whole entire apartment complex. Mind you, at this point they have tacked on a pretty hefty late fee to our rent. So like that's why I sent her the email. Was feisty, okay, because I'm pissed. I'm like, babe, like our portal is down, yada yada yada. You're gonna tack on this late fee. You need to waive it because this is y'all's fault, right? Oh my god. So basically I'm going back and forth with the leasing office. We're going back and forth trying to get like an in-person meeting with the leasing office. Mind you, time is like moving on through this, and our rent still hasn't been paid for the month of January, right? So we end up setting up, an in-person meeting with, the manager of the complex or whatever. And I noticed during this meeting that like I am doing most of the talking, and she's kind of just like sitting beside me and being like super quiet, which is weird because when we would talk about it, like we'd both be on 10. We'd be like, what the frick, like these people, they're not letting us pay our rent, yada 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 yada, right? So I'm doing the talking, and I'm basically telling this lady, why it is unethical for y'all to like tack a late fee onto our rent when we have proof that our portal was down. And now I showed her my proof that my portal was down, but again, I was doing most of the talking, right? Now we are well into January, okay? When I say well into January, we're well into January. And at this point, oh girl ends up telling me that her portal is back up, and she goes in and pays my half of the rent with the money that I sent her mom, right? And this is January, y'all. This is January 23rd, okay? So at this point, my half of the rent is paid. My portion of the rent is paid, right? But we're still trying to like email somebody above this lady that we were initially talking to so that we can get the late fee waived, right? Why does she text me, y'all? Why does this girl text me and say, oh my God. She tells me, hey girl, the police came to our door and gave us a court date. You're joking, right? So basically, while I was in my room, I guess, the police had came to our door and like served us a court date. It wasn't an eviction notice yet. I don't think so, but yeah, we had a court date. I don't even know how that works, honestly, obviously, because I never been through anything like this. So I'm like, the gist of it at this point, I was like, oh no, like let's just go ahead and get this handled. Like, let's go ahead and get the money order, pay the rest of it. Like, we'll pay the late fee because I'm not trying to have a run-in with the cops. You know what I mean? So basically now this girl has given me like every excuse to why she wasn't able to pay like her half. First it was both of our halves of the rent, now it's hers, because initially her portal was down. Then when her portal got working again, she went in and paid my half, but then it was too late to pay her half because they shut down the portal again because we needed to do a money order. Then she talked about how she was going to give me cash, yada 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 yada. The police was at our door. I don't care how we get the money, or I don't care how you get the money, because at this point my half was already paid, right? I don't care how you get the money. Get it, and let's get this resolved now, okay? So I end up texting her. I'm like, hey, can we talk? Let's go ahead and get this resolved. I went in, I had her log into her portal. I went in and I did the math, and she owed through her half, like over $1,000, well over $1,000, and I owed like 100 and something. Okay, so I was like, let's go ahead and get this resolved so that I can sleep in my house peacefully. So I was gonna do everything, like, oh, all she had to do was send the bread, the money, and I was like, I'll go down there to my bank, I'll get the money order. There's a fee to get the money order, so I was texting her like, we're doing this equally in half, okay? Like, I'm not going through and paying out of my pocket for when we're both equally responsible for this. So I was like, here's the money for the fee, I mean, here's the breakdown for the fee of the money order. And then I also tacked on the money that she owed me from the utility bill that we agreed to pay that one in half, right? And this is her response. So she responds and tells me, because we had a talk in person, and then I sent her a breakdown of all the money, right? Clear and in plain English, because that's what you speak. And she says, money I owe you from utility bills, question.
Girl, that your roommate just wanted crazy roommate just wanted you to pay the rent. She didn't want to, and they pocket your money. In a way, they pocket it, and then supposedly she paid it, and somehow, but honestly, she just wanted you to pay the rent. She didn't want to pay it. She act like she paid your part, but really, she just wanted to make your life a living hell. She didn't care what she had to do. She didn't want to live with you no more, and she didn't know how to say it. That's why she was quiet. The majority of the time. It's just sad. You know what I mean? It's just so sad how people can be. Like, if you don't want to be with the person in a roommate situation for college, why can't you just say it? Like, hey, I think it'd be better if we have our own different, let me, live in the dorms and you find something, whatever. But you gave her so much information about your life when you could just kept it on the surface, because sometimes you tell people too much of your business, they will hold it against you when they want to. That's just my opinion. Um, If you ever been through something like this, you know what to do. Comment below. This is Life with Shauna Renee. Don't think I forgot about our code word. Code word is sunny day. Now, you put that in the comments. I'll know that you watched the whole video through. Sunny day. All right, this is Life with Shauna Renee, and I'm out. Bye.